The lights in the theater dimmed and the crowd leaned forward in quiet excitement. It was the premiere of their newest film, a powerful drama about grief and forgiveness. Keanu Reeves stood by the velvet curtain, his black suit clean but not flashy, his hands calmly folded in front of him. Next to him, Ana de Armas took a slow breath. Her dress shimmered under the soft lighting, but her shoulders were stiff. Her fingers wrapped tightly around a silver clutch. Keanu glanced at her, sensing something was off. Her smile was there, but it didn't reach her eyes. She looked straight ahead, as if holding something in. "Breathe," he whispered without looking directly at her. Ana blinked and gave a tiny nod. No cameras had captured it yet. No fans had screamed their names. They still had a moment in the shadows before stepping into the storm. But inside her chest, Ana's heart raced. She wasn't afraid of cameras. She'd walked red carpets before. It was something deeper, something she hadn't spoken about even. To her closest friends, this premiere marked 1 year since. Her father passed. She hadn't shared that with anyone. She thought she could handle it. She told herself she'd smile, wave, pose, and then retreat. She practiced breathing techniques. She even kept a letter from him in her clutch. But now, as she stood beside Keanu, just seconds before the spotlight hit, the weight pressed down harder. Her throat tightened. Her eyes burned. She was losing control. Keanu didn't speak, but he moved slightly, putting his body between her and the entrance, shielding her from the camera flashes that were just beginning to burst through the curtain's seam. "Take your time," he said gently. That was all. Just those words. Not a demand, not a command. Just an open door. Ana swallowed. Her fingers trembled. But she took one breath, then another. Slow. Steady. "Thank you," she whispered. They stepped out. The crowd roared. Cameras clicked. The world saw 2 stars standing together, calm and beautiful. They didn't see Ana's almost panic. They didn't see Keanu's silent shield. They didn't see the kindness in motion. Later that night, the photo would go viral. Keanu slightly in front of Ana, his hand resting near her back, not touching, but present. Some would say it was just elegance. Others would call it gentlemanly. But only Ana knew what he had really done 2 hours earlier. Inside a small green room behind the theater, Ana had stared at her reflection. Makeup perfect, dress perfect, smile rehearsed, but all she saw was a girl without her father. She reached into her clutch and took out the folded note. Her father's handwriting was neat, simple. It said, "You are not alone. You are stronger than you think, love, Papa." Her lip quivered, but she pushed the emotion down. Stylist knocked on the door, saying, "You're on in 10. Ana quickly folded the letter and placed it back inside. She didn't notice the door wasn't. Fully closed, Keanu had seen her through the crack. He didn't say anything. He just waited for her in the hallway near the curtain, letting her pretend she was ready. After the premiere, the cast and crew gathered for a quiet after-party at a rooftop lounge. Music played softly, people laughed and mingled, but Ana sat. By the balcony, a drink untouched in her hand, Keanu joined her. "Crowds get loud," he said. "This is better," Ana nodded. Double quotes, "Thank you for earlier," she said, her voice barely audible over the hum of conversation. "You held it together," he replied. "You didn't need me." "I did," she said, finally turning to him. "You didn't fix anything, but you made it okay to pause. No one ever does that." Keanu smiled. "Not the Hollywood kind, the real kind. Sometimes," he said, "you just need someone to stand still with you." Ana's eyes glistened again, but this time she didn't hide it. The next morning, headlines filled the internet. Keanu and Ana steal the spotlight at emotional premiere. Keanu Reeves steps in front of Ana de Armas in quiet act of kindness, but no one really knew the truth. Only Ana did. 3 days later, Ana visited her father's grave, still in the same city. She wore jeans and a sweater, her hair tied back. She brought fresh flowers and the letter. As she placed them on the stone, she spoke softly. "I didn't fall apart, Papa. Someone helped me stay standing." A warm breeze passed through the trees, and in the silence, she felt peace Keanu had given her a moment, not a performance, not a solution, just a quiet kindness when it mattered most. In that moment was everything. But this was only the beginning, because a week later, Ana would receive a letter. Not from her father, but from a stranger who had seen the viral photo, and what the letter said would shake her heart and would lead her and Keanu into something far more meaningful than either of them expected. The letter arrived in a plain white envelope with no return address. Ana found it on her kitchen counter, slipped between a stack of magazines and a delivery receipt. She didn't notice it at first. She had just returned from a long press tour, still carrying the weight of emotions from the premiere, and her body ached for rest. But something about the envelope stopped her. And it wasn't the paper, it wasn't the ink, it was the feeling. She opened it slowly, half expecting it to be another fan letter, maybe a script offer, or a kind word about the film. But this was something different. The handwriting was shaky, uneven, written in blue ink. "Dear Ana, I don't know if you'll ever read this. I don't know if it'll even reach you. But I had to write. I saw the photo. You standing behind him. Him. Standing still for you, and I knew what that moment was because I had one like it too. I was on the edge once. Not just emotionally, I mean, really on the edge. A bridge. A cold night. No one around, and then a stranger stopped. Didn't say much. Didn't try to fix me. Just stood there. Quietly, he waited with me until I decided to step down. Sometimes we don't need saving. We just need someone to stay. And what Keanu did for you reminded me of that moment. I just wanted to say, thank you for being real. For letting the world see what kindness looks like. You reminded me life still has quiet heroes' love." Stranger named Claire. Ana froze. Her fingers trembled. Holding the letter close to her chest, a stranger had seen the thing no one else had. Seen and had seen herself inside it. She carried the letter with her for the next 3 days. Tucked inside her notebook. Close to her heart. It wasn't just about her and Keanu anymore. It was about something bigger. Something that touched people they didn't even know. So she sent a message to Keanu. It was simple. Coffee. Met at a small cafe tucked away from the main roads in Beverly Hills. No cameras, no stylists. Just 2 people in hoodies, sunglasses, and quiet smiles. "You okay?" he asked, gently stirring his tea. "I got a letter," Ana said, pulling it out. "From a stranger." He read it slowly, nodding as he took in each word. When he finished, he leaned back in his chair and exhaled. "She's right," he said. "It wasn't just about us. People need to see these moments. Remember them. Hold on to them." Ana looked at him. "What if we shared it?" Keanu raised an eyebrow. "The letter, no," she said. "The story, not about fame, not about premieres, just about quiet moments. Acts of presence. Things the world forgets." "You thinking a post?" he asked. Ana shook her head. A movement. Within a week, they created a small online page called the Stillness Project. No logos, no ads. Just a place where people could write about a moment when someone stood with them. No fixing, no fanfare, just kindness. They didn't put their names on it. They didn't make videos, they let the stories speak. And within hours, the posts began. A nurse who stayed with a patient who was scared to sleep after surgery. A janitor who stood beside a crying teenager after school. A teacher who let a boy sit in silence when he couldn't find the words. Ana read every story with tears in her eyes. Some were just a few lines. Others were long and raw. But all of them had something in common. The power of presence. "This is growing fast," Ana said. One night on a video call with Keanu, he smiled, sipping something warm. People were always kind. I just didn't think it mattered enough to write it down. "But it does," she said. "Yeah," he nodded. "It really does." Meanwhile, the media started catching on. Anonymous page collects moments of quiet kindness. Stillness Project goes viral. Thousands share stories of presence. And eventually someone made the connection. A journalist. Notice the letter in the background of a photo. Ana had posted a handwritten note with the name. Within hours, articles exploded. Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves behind the viral Stillness project. Fans were curious. Magazines reached out, but Keanu and Ana stayed silent. They weren't hiding. They were listening. A few days later, Ana received another letter. This one had a return address. It was from Claire. I don't know if you started the page the letter began, but I hope you did because the world needs it. I've been reading every story. And now, I'm ready to share mine too. Maybe someone will see themselves in it. Maybe they'll stay too. Ana clutched the paper to her chest. She didn't need applause. She didn't need headlines. She just needed this quiet truth. A month after the premiere, the Stillness Project reached over 10 million visits. Schools started using it. Nurses printed stories and pinned them to walls. Train stations placed benches with a sign. Sit here if you need someone to wait with you. And every time a new story appeared, Keanu and Ana read it together in silence, sometimes smiling, sometimes crying, always remembering why they started. One day, Ana looked at Keanu and said, "I want to meet Claire." Keanu nodded. "Me too." But what they didn't know is that Claire was already on her way. She had seen something else, something they hadn't posted, something hidden that would change everything. Claire had always believed in timing, not luck, not fate. Not some magical force that fixed everything, just timing. And on that particular evening, standing outside a quiet bookstore in Portland with a folded jacket and a small backpack, she decided it was time to meet them. She held a copy of the original letter in her hand, the one she'd sent to Ana, now slightly crumpled from all the time she had reread it. She had no plan, no team, no camera. She didn't even expect them to be there. She only knew that Keanu Reeves was scheduled for a private event in the bookstore's back room, quiet reading for a charity fundraiser. Ana was rumored to be in the same city visiting a friend. Claire walked up to the door, heart racing, and told the young man at the desk her name. He blinked at her, then smiled. "You're Claire." "Yeah," he handed her a name tag. "They've been expecting you." Claire's legs nearly gave out. Meanwhile, in the back of the bookstore, Keanu sat in a leather armchair, a warm light above him, flipping through a paperback. Ana stood by the small refreshment table, arranging cups and napkins even though staff had already done it. Neither spoke much, but both were thinking the same thing. What would she be like? What do you say to someone whose pain helped start something so beautiful? The door creaked. They turned. Claire walked in nervous, wide-eyed, but holding her ground. She wore jeans, boots, and a navy sweater that looked too big for her frame. Ana stepped forward first. No words, just a hug. Claire held on tightly. Keanu joined them with a quiet smile. "You're real?" Claire whispered, half laughing, half crying. "So, are you?" Ana replied softly. They sat together at a small round table near the window, the bookstore now empty except for them. The city outside was quiet, the lights warm and forgiving. Claire took a breath. "I almost didn't come." "Why?" Keanu asked gently. "Because I didn't want to ruin the moment, the magic of it. Sometimes we put people on pedestals and meeting them, it changes things." Keanu leaned forward. "We're not on a pedestal. We're just two people who saw something in what you wrote. You gave words to something we couldn't explain." Claire nodded, tears in her eyes. "I didn't know how powerful that night would become," Ana added. "You reminded me that the smallest kindness can ripple outward in ways we'll never fully understand." Claire pulled out her phone and opened a folder of saved screenshots. "These are all from the Stillness Project. Stories that meant something to me. I've been collecting them, printing some. I even made a little scrapbook." She hesitated, then handed it to Ana. "I wanted you to have it." Ana flipped through it slowly. Handwritten notes, printed posts, a few drawings from children. One story described a man sitting on a hospital floor with a stranger whose father had just passed. Another spoke of a librarian who waited 2 hours with a runaway girl until her mother arrived. Ana's hands trembled. Keanu reached out and steadied the scrapbook with his fingers. "These are sacred," he said quietly. They spent the next 2 hours just talking. It's not about Hollywood, not about fame, about stillness, about presence, about the unspoken power of standing beside someone without needing to fix them. Claire finally said, "Do you think we could do something more? Something that reaches places where silence is loudest? Hospitals, shelters, prisons maybe?" Ana and Keanu exchanged a look. "Yes," Ana said. "We've been thinking the same," Keanu added. "We just didn't know where to start," Ana whispered. "Maybe we just did." Claire said 1 month later, the Stillness Project launched. Its first real-world action, kindness benches, painted in soft blues and grays. The benches appeared in small places, outside courthouses, near shelters, in quiet schoolyards. Each one had a plaque that read, "You don't have to speak. Just sit. Someone will stay." People began sharing photos sitting on them, sometimes with strangers, sometimes alone, always with purpose. Videos surfaced of nurses taking lunch breaks beside grieving families, guards sitting with inmates during visits, flight attendants standing silently with nervous passengers. The movement didn't shout, it whispered, and the world listened. But success brought challenges. Some media outlets tried to twist the story. Celebrity kindness project just. Another publicity stunt? Who's really behind the stillness benches? Keanu and Ana refused interviews. They kept quiet. They kept kind. Until one night. At a youth center in Detroit, something happened that none of them expected. A young boy, no older than 13, ran inside during a storm. He was barefoot, soaked, shaking. He didn't speak. He just sat on the bench. For hours, a counselor sat beside him, said nothing, just waited, eventually. The boy reached into his hoodie and pulled out a soaked photo. "Ana. And Keanu?" He pointed at it. "Them," he said. "They make it safe." When the counselor shared that story online, the post exploded. More importantly, it became a call. A call to spread benches to every city. A call to remember that sometimes love speaks without words. Ana read the story and wept. Keanu stared at the screen, silent, then whispered, "We can't stop now." But in the shadows, a powerful agency that controlled public messaging began to take notice. The quietness of the movement made too much noise. They were afraid. Afraid of people thinking they didn't need to shout to be heard. Afraid of kindness, placing fear. And they were preparing something, a counter-narrative, a smear. Meanwhile, Claire received a message anonymous. Just one line, "They're going to break it." She didn't know what it meant, but she knew who to tell. And when she did, Ana and Keanu would have to make the most difficult choice yet. Keep quiet or speak, risking everything. Ana sat on the edge of her hotel bed, staring at Claire's message. It was late. The kind of late when the world feels quiet, but something inside keeps buzzing. Her fingers hovered above the screen, uncertain. They're going to break it. Read the words again. No name, no number. No way to trace it. It's just the warning. Keanu was already on the line when she called. He didn't answer with hello, didn't ask what was wrong. He just said, "I saw it too." Ana exhaled. They knew this day might come. The Stillness Project had grown faster than they expected. It wasn't just benches anymore. It wasn't just letters or soft stories whispered in quiet corners. It was in schools, clinics, community centers, even airports. And people were responding not with outrage. Not with hashtags, but with stillness, kindness, presence, and that kind of influence scared those who thrived on noise. Across the country, an executive board met in a glass tower. They wore suits, spoke in short, firm words. Their faces were calm, but their eyes held concern. "It's too quiet," one man said. "And it's spreading," another added. "We have nothing to pin them with. No profits, no ads, no scandals. Just benches and silence." "Silence is dangerous when it becomes powerful," the woman at the head of the table said. "We need control. They've made it look like people don't need us to organize hope. They're proving kindness doesn't have to be sold. That threatens our model." "So what do we do?" someone asked. She tapped a folder inside it. Photos of Keanu and Ana, reports, interview rejections. Public posts, Moments they refuse to turn into press events. We feed the doubt, she said. If we can't stop the movement, we fracture it from inside. The next day, an article hit the internet. It was slick, well-written, seemingly kind on the surface. Has the Stillness Project gone too far? The title asked. The subtitle, some say quiet kindness hides quiet control. Ana read it while sitting in the back seat of a car on the way to a radio station. The words stung. They want to appear invisible. But are they guiding people without accountability? Is this just another way celebrities control the narrative? Why won't they speak openly? What are they hiding? Ana turned off her phone. Claire called 30 minutes later. Don't read the comments, she said. I won't, Ana whispered, even though she already had. Keanu sent her a short text. Want to come over? That night they sat in his kitchen. No cameras, no plans. Just 2 cups of tea and silence. What if it falls apart? Ana asked. Keanu stirred his cup. Then we stay. Just stay? Yes, he said. With whoever's left. Even if it's just one person. Ana looked at him. But we started this quietly. Can we defend it? Loudly, Keanu leaned back. Maybe it's time to speak, not to fight. Just to tell the truth. The next morning, Keanu posted a photo on the Stillness page. No filter, no edit. Just his hand holding the original letter from Claire. The caption was only 3 lines. This letter changed us. It reminded us that presence matters. This is why. We started. Ana posted her own version. Photo of a child's drawing from the scrapbook Claire had made. It was a simple picture of 2 people sitting on a bench. One had tears. The other just had a heart, her caption. You don't have to say the right thing. Just be there. That's enough. The internet didn't explode. It sighed. A soft wave of support rolled in. Thousands of people commented, not with emojis or clapping, hands but with their own quiet stories. A man who lost his wife and was comforted by a stranger who sat with him for 5 hours at a park. Teenager who was going to drop out of school until a cafeteria worker smiled at her every morning and said, "You matter." A nurse who held a patient's hand through her final breath without ever speaking a word. The Stillness page swelled with life and love. But the smear campaign didn't stop. A well-known host invited them to appear on a live talk show. Ana and Keanu were hesitant. Claire was more direct. Don't go, she warned. They'll twist your words. But Keanu looked thoughtful. Then maybe we don't use words. On the day of the show, the audience was electric. The host was known for high ratings, sharp comebacks, and cornering guests with smiling cruelty. Ana and Keanu walked in, calm/side by side. The host smiled brightly. So, we finally have the silent stars of the Stillness Project with us. Tell me, why all the mystery? Keanu smiled back. It was never about us. The host tilted her head. Then why not come forward earlier? Some people think this was a marketing trick. Ana didn't flinch. Can kindness exist without profit? The host blinked. I'm sorry. Ana leaned forward slightly. Can kindness exist without applause? Without cameras? Without followers? As the audience shifted in their seats. Keanu spoke next. We didn't create something. We uncovered something. It was already in people. We just gave it a place to breathe. The host tried to regain control. So what's next for the Stillness Project? A book deal? A movie? Merchandise? Ana looked directly at the camera. No. Just more benches, more letters, more presence. Keanu followed with a line that would be quoted for years. We're not trying to be the voice of kindness. We're just trying to remind people they already know how to be kind. After the episode aired, something strange happened. Not a spike in followers, not a viral trend, just stillness. More benches, more stories, more presence. But Claire received another message the next morning. This one was a voice, message distorted. They're watching the benches. You have one chance to protect them. You'll know when. Ana called her immediately. What do we do? Claire whispered back. We go quiet again, but not gone, not yet. Keanu, watching the sun rise from his porch, replied calmly, then, we We plant something deeper. And together, they made a decision. They would step away from the spotlight completely, but not to hide, to prepare, because the next step would involve thousands, and someone hidden inside the movement was about to betray them all. They disappeared from the public eye in less than 48 hours. No press release. No goodbye post. Sirkawan's account went silent. Ana's page turned blank except for one final post. This is not the end. It's the seed. Claire left her small apartment and moved into a shared safe house with 3 volunteers from the Stillness Project. They didn't speak much. They just worked folding letters, organizing digital files, backing up every story ever posted, but the pressure outside was growing. Media outlets were frustrated. Their clicks were dropping. Producers called it the kindness blackout. A major outlet accused them of fleeing accountability. Others called the movement emotional manipulation wrapped in stillness. But the benches stayed. And so did the people. In Los Angeles, a woman sat on a stillness bench outside a courthouse, holding her daughter's hand after a hard custody hearing. Neither of them spoke, but someone joined them. A stranger. He didn't ask questions. He just sat, still, steady. In a small village in Argentina, a retired teacher painted her own stillness bench from memory, even though she didn't have the official design. She placed it beneath a willow tree, left tea beside it, and wrote in chalk, "I will wait with you." These acts were no longer inspired by fame. They were inspired by each other, but far away, in a sterile room with bright lights. In cold voices, the betrayal was being written. His name was Adam McLean, one of the original digital volunteers. He had helped design the earliest layouts of the Stillness site. He had been kind, quiet, consistent. Everyone trusted him, but his brother worked for a media conglomerate, and when pressure came, when threats came at him broke, he didn't ask. For money, he didn't demand power. He just gave them access. A folder full of private letters, real stories from people who had trusted the Stillness page to protect their names, their pain, their healing, within hours. The leak hit the internet, hundreds of personal moments. A mother's note about losing her son, a prisoner, his letter to a guard who once sat beside him on Christmas Eve, a child's drawing sent to a hospital. Nurse, who waited through his entire treatment, posted, exposed, without names, but not without cost. People panicked, comments turned cruel. Trolls mocked the pain. Some accused Keanu and Ana of fabricating the stories. Others accused them of using the stories to manipulate emotions. The heart of the Stillness Project. Bleeding Ana got the message first, from Claire. 3 words. They leaked everything. Ana fell to the floor of her apartment, her back against the wall, breath caught in her throat. She didn't cry right away. She just sat. Stunned, Keanu arrived 20 minutes later. No questions. He sat beside her. They didn't speak for a long time, and then Ana whispered, "We promised we would protect them." "No, we still can," he said, double quotes. "How?" Asked, voice cracked. He looked straight ahead, not blinking. "By standing with them now, especially now." They held an emergency video call that night with Claire and a few of the original volunteers. No lights, no press, just raw faces on the screen. Claire was pale, furious, shaking. "It was Adam," she said. Ana closed her eyes. Keanu didn't flinch. Then, "We don't run," he said. "We give people their voices back, and we let them speak if they choose to." "You mean go public?" Claire asked. "Not us," Ana said. "Them. Let them post their stories again. In their own way. Their own words. Let them reclaim it." Within 12 hours, a new page launched. Stillness voices, no photos of celebrities, no leaders, just a blank space and a question. "Do you want to take your story back?" One by one, stories returned. Not all, not most, but enough. Some were rewritten, some were reposted exactly as before. Some added one, add new sentence at the end. "I still believe." People rallied, the ones who hadn't been affected by the leak. Stood beside those who had, and then, Something unexpected happened. Adam posted. He didn't hide, he didn't deny, he didn't make excuses. His message was only 4 lines. I broke. I was afraid. I am sorry. If stillness means anything, I'll stay with the ones I hurt. Some wanted to destroy him, but others stayed. And slowly, something deeper emerged, a new branch of the project. Born not from success, but from failure. A space for those who had caused harm, wanted to rebuild. They called it the Bench of Return. Keanu and Ana did not take credit. They didn't post about it. They didn't even join the new page. They just sat back and watched what the world had become. A place where benches weren't just symbols. They were tools, bridges, open hands. And as Ana watched a new photo come in, an elderly man sitting beside his son, both holding a copy of their leaked letter. Smiling, she whispered, "They didn't break us. They gave us roots." Keanu stood at the window, quiet. Then he said, "It's time." Ana turned to him. "For what?" He looked at her, calm and certain. "For the final stillness, one no one can steal, one they'll never forget." Anna's heart skipped, because she knew what he meant. But what they were about to do would change everything, and the world wasn't ready. The sun rose quietly that morning. It was the kind of morning that didn't shout, the kind that didn't beg for attention. Just a slow light rising over rooftops, painting soft gold over broken sidewalks and open windows. Keanu sat in the garden. Behind an old community center in East Los Angeles, he wore a simple gray shirt. No cameras, no assistant. He was surrounded by volunteers placing stillness benches along the outer Walton benches in total. Each hand-painted by children, teachers, and residents. Ana stood nearby, tying a soft blue ribbon around a tree. She didn't speak. Her hands moved with care, like every knot carried a story. Today was the day. Not a launch, not a campaign, but a quiet finale, a final stillness. 3 months had passed since the leak, since the betrayal, and something strange had happened in the aftermath. Stillness didn't die. It deepened. People began building their own benches and fields on balconies inside subway tunnels. The project no longer needed celebrity voices. It had become a language of its own. Ana and Keanu had one last message to give. Not with words, not with posts, but through presence. By noon, the courtyard behind the center began to fill, not with media, not with Einer flirts, just people, families, strangers, a woman holding her father's hand, a man sitting with his service dog, a young teen with a worn notebook tucked in her lap. Keanu and Ana had sent out only one invitation, a handwritten note, posted to the Stillness Voices page. "If you've ever been part of this journey, we'll be here, just once. One time, to sit with you. No speeches, no stage, just stillness." The response was overwhelming, but not loud, just human. More than 1,000 people came that day. They didn't cheer, they didn't chant. They simply found a spot and sat on benches. On the grass, beside each other, beside those who came alone. Ana walked through them slowly, stopping often, sitting next to people she didn't know, listening without needing to respond. Sometimes she cried, sometimes she smiled. Always, she was present. Keanu moved through the crowd like wind through trees. No rush, no center, just a steady heartbeat. And then, when the light began to soften into evening, the crowd grew still, without anyone asking, without anyone instructing, just still, silent together. Claire stepped forward, holding the scrapbook she'd made all those months ago. She placed it on a wooden table near the benches, opened it to a page with a child's crayon drawing, and placed a single flower on top. Then she sat down. Others followed. Some placed their own letters. Some offered photos. Some simply closed their eyes and breathed. And then, without warning, an old man stood up and began to sing. His voice was cracked, gentle. He sang an old lullaby, and one by one, others joined. not in harmony, not in perfect tune, but together. Ana's eyes filled with tears. She turned to Keanu. "This is it," she whispered. He nodded. The final stillness. The next day, media outlets tried to cover it, but there was no headline, no drama, no fight, just a gathering of people who remembered how to pause, how to sit, how to hold space for each. Some said it was boring. Others said it was wholly Keanu. And Ana never spoke publicly about the event. They didn't need to, because what happened next made it clear. Schools created stillness rooms for children overwhelmed by noise. Airports installed pause spaces beside gates for anxious travelers. A town in Canada built an entire park around stillness benches, and letters kept arriving, handwritten, typed, drawn. In crayon, stories of presence, stories of redemption, stories of being held not by words, not by action, but by someone who simply stayed. 1 year later, Ana visited the original bench, the one where it had all started. Outside the theater, under the shade of a sycamore tree, she sat alone, but not lonely in her clutch. She still carried the letter from her father. She unfolded it once more. "You are not alone. You are stronger than you think, love, Papa." Voice broke the silence. "May I sit?" She looked up, a young girl, nervous. Quiet, Ana nodded and smiled. The girl sat, and they said nothing. They just stayed. Elsewhere, Keanu walked through a crowded city square. No one noticed him. He liked it that way as he passed a row of stillness benches. He saw people sitting side by side, a man in a suit beside a woman in torn shoes, a group of teens sharing headphones, a boy asleep beside a stranger watching over him. He paused just for a moment, then kept walking. His mission was never to be seen, only to see, and across the world, where voices still felt small, where pain still ran deep, a new bench was placed. No plaque, no name, just an open space for anyone, everyone, and the words engraved beneath. "Stay with me, just for a moment," because that's all it ever took. Moment, one act, one kindness, unseen by most, but remembered forever.